We need your help, Kakarot. Everyone looks at one another horrified, except for Cell, who looks at them interested. A second passes in silence before Vegeta disappears. Bulma looks towards her husband, who has also vanished. Wondering what had happened, a sudden surge of wind echoes throughout the entire city, as Bulma looks up to see Goku and Vegeta having punched one another in the face, both smiling as if this one exchange had told them everything they needed to know about one another's power. The pair start to pull their fists back, having finished, sharing a small nod as they fly down towards the ground. Goku, hearing this, wants to know more, knowing that Vegeta would only ever come to him as a last resort. If something's causing you to come here for my help, Vegeta, it's gotta be a problem. So what do you need? The smile Vegeta was previously wearing disappears, as he tells Kakarot that the universe is in danger if they do not work together. Goku looks at Vegeta asking for more information, as a small alien steps forward, saying that he can help with that. Goku looks at him slightly confused, since he cannot sense his energy, but when the man introduces himself as Shin, the Supreme Kai of this universe, Goku looks on confused, but a voice in his mind tells him to trust the Kai, as Kami, joined by Piccolo, teleports to their location. With Kami introducing himself as the God of Earth with a bow, Shin awkwardly laughs, telling Kami that there is no need to be so formal. After all, he is here asking his warriors for a favour, so it should be him being super formal. However, Kibito tuts at this, thinking that Shin should not be apologetic towards a lesser god. Shin begins explaining how, in the coming months, an evil wizard known as Babidi will arrive on the planet in search for an ancient evil known as Majin Buu, a creature of pure evil that will destroy this planet and everything else in the universe if it is reawakened. Hearing this, the Earth Warriors present look concerned, asking why they don't just stop Babidi before he arrives on the planet, making Vegeta speak up saying that they tried that. However, they hardly stood a chance against Babidi's strongest warrior. He tore through them like they were children, and even when they went Great Ape, nothing seemed to work. They were just child's play to him. Piccolo, knowing the strength that Vegeta and Nappa possess currently and how much they can achieve with the Great Ape state, can calculate how strong they would be, and is surprised to think that there is a creature out there stronger than that. He asks how they stood up to him as a whole, and Vegeta goes on explaining that even with all of the Galactic Patrol's strongest warriors, himself and Nappa, they hardly stood a chance. The creature was incredibly powerful. He made Frieza seem like a joke. Even both of them in the Great Ape hardly stood a chance. They hardly even scratched it. Cell, hearing this, tunes into the conversation more than he had been before, looking down at Vegeta and Nappa, more interested. However, this doesn't go unnoticed as Kibito catches the gaze of Cell. Before anything can be said, Vegeta and Nappa's anger and annoyance at themselves hits a pinnacle as the prince clenches his fist to the point of drawing blood, making Piccolo take a second, asking Goku where he stands in comparison to Vegeta. After that quick exchange, Goku probably has a good idea. And Goku thinks for a few seconds before saying he is likely just weaker than Vegeta, at least in his base state. Vegeta looks at Goku confused, wondering if he means that Ikari form he had used. However, that is the same modifier as a Great Ape form, so if Goku was to transform, he would still be weaker than Vegeta if he was to go Great Ape. And Goku just smiles. Seeing all of these thoughts run through Vegeta's head, Goku tells everyone to step back as he jumps over towards the garden pond. He asks Vegeta how he holds up. Vegeta is confused as Goku begins to emit a golden glow, and soon it is released, engulfing Goku and letting him become a Super Saiyan. Vegeta and Nappa's jaws drop to the floor as they look at this. Shin is also amazed to find a mortal stronger than Vegeta and Nappa. Nappa wonders how a low-class Saiyan could manage this, but Vegeta knows that class means nothing, especially with Kakarot, and he wonders if he could achieve a power like this. He had always theorized that Kakarot could be the Super Saiyan of legend, but this is the proof he needed. However, Vegeta can already tell that Kakarot is not strong enough to take down Dabura, and vocalizes this. Goku looks amazed hearing this, asking for an idea on the difference. Vegeta thinks for a few seconds before saying if he was to guess, Kakarot would more than likely have to more than triple his current power to stand a chance. And for those who are thinking this is too high, remember this version of Z-Fighter has never encountered Perfect Cell, yet alone Super Perfect Cell, which is what I believe Dabura is relevant to, as stated by Goku in the manga. So now, by never encountering Super Perfect Cell or even Perfect Cell, Z-Fighters never really had that goal and power. Their biggest goal was Imperfect Cell, who would be slightly stronger than in canon, but without Super Saiyan 2 Gohan or Super Perfect Cell for a goal, they have become much weaker than they would otherwise be in canon. That is just my opinion on where Deborah stands in comparison. Some people say he is Perfect Cell level, some people think he's Super Perfect Cell level. I personally like to think he's Super Perfect Cell level, makes him a bit more of a threat, but also because of how Future Trunks and Deborah fought with one another. It was clear Deborah was much stronger than Trunks, and I believe Trunks was be massively stronger than he was in canon. My logic would dictate that he's about Perfect Cell level, but not Super Perfect Cell level, which would be why he needed the Super Saiyan 2 transformation to even stand a chance against Deborah. This is a long thing, maybe I'll talk about it more in depth at another time, but for now just know that Deborah for me is Super Perfect Cell level. Anyway, back to the story. Cell hearing this goes to smirk. It creeps along his face. However, before he can fall too deep into his own thought, Goku shouts out to Cell, asking if he can go all out for him, shouting to his sons to do the same thing as well. The bug is snapped back to reality as he watches Trunks and Gohan hop forward towards their father, and then he responds that he can do that with a smile towards his friend. As he jumps down next to Goku and powers up, so does Gohan and Trunks, all three of them releasing their maximum power, causing everyone around who isn't used to sensing their energy to be shocked. Vegeta had taken an interest in the bug, but was never sure of how strong it was. Feeling Cell's energy right now, though, it is incredible. Alongside that, Nappa can't believe that the hybrids have gained such incredible strength as they turn into a Super Saiyan, then taken aback. Shin is amazed by the power this group possesses, and having never really had any godly training other than their own earthly god, it's incredible to them. As the three finish powering up, it leaves Cell slightly ahead of the other two, but it's clear Trunks and Gohan are only a little bit weaker than Cell, who is the strongest in the group. After a few seconds of standing around, Nappa finally asks a question that all five visitors are thinking: in what is Cell? Causing Bulma to walk out with a smile, telling them that Cell is a creature of her design, or at least slightly, as she then asks, will Cell be enough? But Shin this time responds that Cell alone would not stand a chance. Cell is annoyed but excited to hear this. Before an emotion can show, Shin tells the group that he believes with a unified attack they could win, but Shin speaks up saying how he would not like to gamble the fate of the universe on a could. So instead he would like to take all of these Earth Warriors to the Supreme Kai world to give them some of the most intense training they possibly can, in hopes that that little bit of a power increase they can get while they are there will make the difference and hopefully lead to them winning this battle. Goku and Piccolo share this sentiment, thinking it's a very good idea, having wanted to delay the attack for a few days in hopes to better prepare anyway. So of course the pair agree. Alongside Gohan and Trunks, they also agree. They're willing to learn and see what these gods have to offer, and if it means saving the universe, they're more than willing to fight. Plus, it's been a little bit since they've had a good scrap. Cell, on the other hand, isn't as patient. He wants to rush forward, he wants to get to this battle, but he knows letting himself get stronger could be a good way to save this planet. So instead, he doesn't say anything, just stays quiet and has this internal conflict by himself. As the group has made their decision, Goku looks excited at the prospect, asking if this means he will be training under Shin. Kirito shakes his head with annoyance at this ignorance of Goku, but Shin explains it will be something of the sort. However, Goku is much stronger than himself, so it's likely he'll mostly be training with the other Saiyans, mainly Vegeta from what he can tell, but he'll give him some guidance and maybe even do some light sparring with him, or maybe Kirito will join in, causing the taller Kai to scoff at this. But having heard the idea of training under someone else for the first time in many years, and knowing that this training needs to be done to save his planet, he's really excited. He hasn't had a master in ages, so having a new one for the first time in many years could be really exciting for him. Shin thanks them for taking the call to action so fast, with Gohan and Trunks saying that it won't be the first time they've saved the universe from a horrible creature, and unfortunately it likely won't be the last, causing the brothers to chuckle slightly as they sigh, knowing that what they've said is true, they just don't want it to be. However, Shin is quick to note that not only do these boys decide to help, but their attitudes towards helping have been good this entire time. Bulma, having sit and watched all of this go down, knows that her husband needs to leave for a while. Grabbing her daughter's hand, Bulma asks if Bulla would be willing to help her get some things ready for Daddy and her brothers. Bulla nods enthusiastically as the pair walk into the building, getting some preparation ready for her family going away, making it all in a nice little package for her husband and sons, while Cell watches from a distance. It's as if he's doing math in his head. He's trying to figure something out. However, Goku, seeing his favourite sparring partner holding back, signals for him to join in on the conversation. After all, this is some of the universe's strongest fighters. It's not very often they're all together. So, Cell smiles as he approaches, finally prompting Vegeta to ask about Cell, making Trunks and Gohan proudly explain what Cell is and how he's made up of many different fighters, almost bragging about their mother's intelligence. Something Vegeta takes interest in, hearing that his cells are actually in Cell. He wonders how that affects the creature, and more importantly, he hears that some Frieza DNA is in there as well. It's all very concerning to Vegeta, but for the most part, Cell's aura seems really good and calm, even friendly, so for now, he'll trust him. Jacko, on the other hand, has been watching silently for a while, and this was his breaking point. Hearing about a bug being made up of many different people's DNA, yeah, it breaks him, and he tells Vegeta and Nappa that he's heading back to HQ and they are to report in whenever they complete this mission. He's had a long day where he's lost a few friends. Vegeta and Nappa nod as Jacko calls for his ride and disappears off into space, while Vegeta tells Kakarot, his spawn, Cell and Piccolo to be ready for some intense training, as the Kais can heal them, meaning they can abuse the hell out of some Zenkais. Goku smiles at this, knowing that this means he and Vegeta can finally have another all-out brawl, while Piccolo looks interested in the idea that the Kais can heal. Nappa, on the other hand, looks towards Cell, wanting to definitely have a fight against him. Gohan and Trunks know they'll end up training together anyway, or maybe even with Cell, so they're not too worried. With every Saiyan's present blood boiling to a breaking point, Goku's name is shouted, grabbing his attention. He turns around to see his wife holding a case in one arm and his daughter in the other. Goku flies up to collect the capsule case, with Bulma explaining that there is a great feast in this capsule. She had made it in case her husband had decided to head into the time chamber once again, but it seems like right now might be the best time to give it to him. Goku thanks Bulma before the group of warriors all grab hold of one another and are teleported away, with Bulma shouting out for Cell to come back soon. Cell smiles as he waves, saying he won't be gone long. As the group teleport away, they arrive on what Vegeta calls the world of the Kais, and where they will be training for the next few days, maybe even weeks. The earthly fighters have to take a moment to take everything in. Once getting their bearings, they ask what sort of training they are going to be doing, making Vegeta smile as he explains he and Nappa mostly spent their time sparring with one another. However, Kibito might join in with them every now and again. Shin nods, apologising once more, telling them that he can offer to heal them whenever they need it, but they are much stronger than him, and he would likely just slow them down if he was to train alongside them. Hearing this, everyone begins to get ready to start their training. However, Shin pulls the twins to the side, asking if they would like to try something out, a very special form of training. Hearing this, the twins look at each other, confused but interested, nodding their heads, shouting out to their father that they're going somewhere with Shin to do some training. Goku nods, telling his sons to try their best at whatever they're doing, and to be good. The pair nod as Shin asks Kibito to keep an eye on our heroes, as Goku and Vegeta waste no time, jumping straight into training with one another, while Cell takes on both Nappa and Piccolo. All the while, Gohan and Trunks are led away from the battlefield. Gohan is confused at where they are being taken to, but trusts Shin's intentions are pure, while Trunks feels like the energy of his father and Vegeta battling, trying to watch the fight while not being there. After a short flight, Gohan and Trunks find themselves at the top of a mountain where a sword is embedded. Shin looks towards the boy, saying that this is a weapon known as a Z-sword. It's said to gift the wielder with great power, however no one has been able to draw it from the stone. However, he believes they are the ones who can do it. One of the twins will be able to wield the sword and save the universe. Both Trunks and Gohan, hearing this, get excited at the idea of being heroes. Trunks loves swords, he thinks it's super cool, and he really wants to use it. However, Gohan shows his more mature side, telling his brother that they need to take this seriously, as like Shin said, the fate of the world and the universe is on the balance, and it's relying on them to be able to draw this weapon, causing the stars in his brother's eyes to disappear as he turns to Gohan, nodding. Shin is slightly shocked at the teenager's maturity, as he asks who will be trying first. Trunks, having a fascination with the weapon, really does want to go first, but knows that his brother, being more mature, likely deserves to go first. Gohan thanks his brother as he steps forward and places his hands on the hilt of the weapon, and he begins to pull and strain with all of his might, trying to move the sword even just an inch. While straining, pulling the weapon up, he even jumps up to his Ikari state, hoping to do something. This form catches Shin off guard, however, it doesn't matter how much Gohan tries. He cannot get the sword to budge whatsoever. He thinks about going Super Saiyan, but realises he's absolutely exhausted. So trying to get a breather, he tells his brother to give it a go. Trunks looks confused at his brother, wondering why he gave up lifting, but Gohan says it makes no sense to tire himself out. They should try do it bit by bit together, allowing for breathers. Trunks takes a closer look and can see his brother is actually sweating a bit, so nods, tagging him for his brother and powering up to Super Saiyan, as he begins to pull on the sword with everything he can, as both Shin and Gohan watch the sword budge ever so slightly as it is lifted out of the mountain an inch or maybe two. However, Trunks is exhausted from this, releasing his grip on the handle and panting for breath. But Gohan shouts out that his brother nearly had it. Trunks nods, saying that together they might be able to do this, with Trunks standing back up for what the brothers hope will be the final try. As both power up to Super Saiyan, they wrap their hands around the hilt of the weapon, giving another confirmation as they begin to lift with all of their might. Shin stands watching, and the ground beneath him begins to crush and crumble under their power, causing the Kai to take flight while Gohan and Trunks continue to pull, feeling the blade loosening and loosening. Trunks shouts out to Gohan that they just need one more push, as the pair let out a scream which all but shakes the planet, with the pair getting wrapped in an aura of lightning for a brief second before the blade is pulled from the stone, held in the air by both the twins, who smile brightly, before the weight of the weapon hits them, causing them to go crashing towards the ground, making both have to use all of their strength to pull up from the drop. Shin smiles while looking, asking if they feel any different, but the kids shake their heads, wondering if they need to get used to holding it alone to feel the benefits of the sword. Hearing this, both boys nod in agreement, before Gohan looks towards his brother and nods, releasing his grip on the hilt, allowing Trunks to hold the sword by himself. However, the hybrid is only able to keep the sword a few inches off the floor, as he swings it for a few seconds before dropping the blade, telling Gohan it's his turn. Gohan then starts swinging the blade himself, as the pair begin continuously cycling the weapon for training, swinging it around and then swapping for longer and longer intervals. Meanwhile, over with Goku and Vegeta, they continue their brawl. Vegeta is annoyed that Kakarot has yet to transform into a Super Saiyan, believing he isn't taking this fight seriously, causing the Prince to try his hardest to get the Saiyan to transform. However, Goku for now is fighting base to base, just enjoying the almost even battle him and Vegeta are going through, all the while taking in the development Vegeta has clearly gone through during the years in space, seeing that the Prince has developed some new strategies and ways to move, and he finds Vegeta's new way of moving so weird. It's as if the Saiyan Prince is trying to move without thought, but that just can't be right. As for Piccolo and Nappa, they are having a hard time fighting against Cell. Even with the bug holding back, Cell is too powerful for the pair of them. However, Cell doesn't treat this maliciously, or even cruel. He just smiles throughout the fight, even giving some advice to Nappa and Piccolo on where they can improve, just enjoying a good workout and a battle. However, all this does is annoy both Nappa and Piccolo, who try all they can to pose a threat to the Biodroid. Capito watches annoyed, hating that mortals are so casually training on the world of the Kais, but it's Shin's orders, so he knows to follow them, even if he believes they are wrong. So the Kai observes, finding Goku and Cell to be the worst offenders to his beliefs. However, the Kai does find the one known as Piccolo to be the most bearable thanks to his godly heritage. The Namekian seemingly has some grace and tact to him, but maybe even some minor amounts of God Ki, since it seems that Piccolo has acknowledged his and Shin's presence on multiple occasions without him ever realising. As the two groups continue their training for the next few days, the group make more and more progress, with Gohan and Trunks being able to wield the sword for longer and longer periods each day, while Goku learns of Vegeta's life in space, his defeat of King Cold and the day he joined the Galactic Patrol, plus the training partners he found in someone named Mirus, or the training he and Nappa had gone through, or at least tried to go through, under a group of aliens named the Yardrats. However, Vegeta shares that he has hardly made any good ground on learning any of their techniques. Even though they all sound very interesting, something about their training style just doesn't work with the Saiyan Prince. However, Vegeta actually believes maybe Kakarot and his group could benefit off it. Both Miras and the Ardratians sound very interesting to Goku, but for now he knows he needs to concentrate on Babidi. After all, that is the biggest threat to the universe yet. The group are on good tracks to be strong enough to take down Babidi and his forces, but a message from Kami causes a halt to the whole training operation, as the god of Earth warns his allies that he has begun to sense unique evil energies on the planet, having sent Krillin to stop the initial search party, but he warns the group on the Spring High World that he believes the wizard has finally made his way to Earth faster than they had anticipated, and they will begin their search for Buu's egg soon. So he asks for the group of his strongest warriors to return home, in hopes to stop the wizard before anything bad can happen. So after quickly gathering around with one another, then grabbing hold of Shin, they are teleported to Kami's lookout, where they are greeted by Kami and a roughed up Krillin, who smiles when Goku arrives, saying all their training did pay off, as he managed to stop a few aliens that he would have never stood a chance against years ago. Goku, happy to see Krillin is feeling the benefits, wants to ask more, but the feeling of a powerful ki touching down or appearing on the planet stops him. Turning to Vegeta, he asks if that's the fighter that stopped him and Nappa, making Vegeta nod, as all who can sense ki feel the massive weight of the Bora's energy. Goku looks at the group, knowing that the battle is about to begin, and that's where we'll leave this part. I hope everyone enjoyed this part, and sorry I didn't cover an awful lot, but I have been really busy these last few weeks, hence why my uploads have kind of all but disappeared. I had a lot of personal stuff going on, I don't really want to talk about it. So yeah, that's kind of slowed down production for a little bit, plus having worked on such a big video with my Kukui one, kind of gave me a bit of fatigue. That all being said, I should be hitting a normal patch of uploads once more. I do apologise for such a big gap to my uploads in such a short part, but I wanted to get something out to you guys to let you know what was going on, while also making some progress on this story. For anyone still here, this is kind of a freeboard update on where everything stands. I'm going to do a community post soon, just to give an idea of how many parts are left, what the condition of some of these stories are, and what might be coming next. So let's start off with the MCU Goku. That likely has 2 parts left, maybe 1, depending on how active I'm feeling. That's because I plan on ending at Endgame. Mixed reasons why. One is because I don't see this, with how I plan on ending the story, I don't see much changing going forward from what we've seen in Marvel recently, and also because everything past Endgame has been very hit or miss. I've really enjoyed some of the movies that have come out, but I've also really disliked some of the movies which has come out. Thor: Love and Thunder is the biggest offender to what I've not enjoyed, but there's also some good films in there and some good series, so if there's anything which would change through how I plan on ending the story, I will do a brief cover, but I don't know if it will go any further past Endgame. Then there is Raditz Ray's Gohan. That story is still doing really well and one of my favourites to write for. I'm currently scripting out the 4th part. 4th, yeah. I'm just taking my time with it. I want to make sure that the idea I had for this fight comes across correctly, to the point I've rewritten it twice now, I think. What else is there? Kukui sponsored Ash. Season 1 of this story will be ending next part, and then it will have a small break, maybe a month or 2, where I cover a different story for a little bit, or maybe try to finish some of the other stories I've got going on, which I haven't finished. Things like, Piccolo trained with Goku and some stuff like that. I'm not sure. It'll be more finalised when the community post comes out, what will be following Kukui trained Ash and MCU. This story has not a large amount of parts left. I was originally planning on breezing through the Kai training and doing the Buu saga in a bit of a 1 part, but now I might do the Buu saga and Battle of Gods arc all together. I'm not sure. The first few arcs of Super are going to be very different. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. Like I said, this is just me spitballing it off the top of my head without writing anything down for concise notes. And that all being said, I know there's some stories people want me to finish or continue or whatnot. I know one of the big ones is Gokuing Naruto, which might replace the MCU story. I'm not sure. I do want to do something Naruto at the minute, but it might not be that story. We'll see. But that is definitely a contender for one of the ones coming back when either season 1 of Kukui ends, or what is the MCU Goku. But yeah, Goku and Naruto is a big contender because it's a very popular series, and I did have most of the series scripted out. Well, not scripted out, but I had the skeleton of it all done. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see about that one. I do have another series which is in the very early development stages, which might be following Kukui. I don't know. It will possibly be my Pokemon slot until I bring back season 1 of Kukui. I'm not sure at this point in time. I'll be honest. I think my plan going forward will be to have one Pokemon, maybe one Naruto, and 2 Dragon Ball going on at any given moment, because Dragon Ball's my main thing. I love Dragon Ball. It's the series I know the best off the top of my head. I want to branch off into Naruto because I really love the Naruto series, and I've dabbled with the stories in the past, and I feel like I didn't have the skill back then to do them. I feel much more prepared to do them nowadays. And then Pokemon is just my favourite franchise out there. I love the series. I've consumed it since I was like 6, so I will likely continue doing Pokemon What Ifs. Yeah, I'm kind of rambling now. This will all come out in a community post. Like I said at the start, I don't know when. Whenever I've written it all down, and when I have a better idea of. I'm just rambling. Anyway, that all being said, I hope everyone has a great day. I hope you've enjoyed this part, and let me know what you would want to see when these future series ends. That all being said, I hope you all have a great day or a good night, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Have a good one.